Hello and welcome to the Dharma Live podcast. My name is Eloise Surfleet Middleton, and this week I am giving you my perspective on what is happening with the global pandemic, the coronavirus. Yes, I thought it was important that I put this podcast out because I want to give you a higher evolutionary view. So I know that there is a huge amount of uncertainty happening out in the world. And just to remind you, I'm doing daily group tapping with my community, which you can come and join the Facebook group and you can tap in what you need. So please come over and join us. Don't be shy. It's a beautiful, supportive community. It's very important at the moment that we keep our vibrations high and that we hold what is happening as an evolution for our planet. Now, I know that might sound crazy, but bear with me because I'm going to explain to you my own thoughts and opinion on this. So, first of all, I would like to honor you and say thank you for listening to this podcast. I know that you guys love my solar cast because I see the stats and we get higher results for solar cast than we do for podcasts, which is incredibly flattering. Now, I want to give you a positive perspective on what is happening out there at the moment. So I'm kind of naming this the breakdown to breakthrough. So if you haven't already noticed, this time it's Friday, the 20th of March when I am recording this. And it is the equinox today. It is spring equinox, 20th of March. It was 3:50 this morning, the equinox. And the days are getting longer. And equinox actually means equal in Latin, and it means that the days are equal. So the days and the nights are equal at the moment. And the equinox is a time of transition. And a lot of people get sick actually normally with the equinox just because of the season change. And, I think it's your system clearing out the backlog of whatever it doesn't need. That does not mean it is coronavirus. But we are going through an evolutionary shift. I really believe what is happening at the moment is we are being forced to look at our actions. Now, everybody is pretty much inside at the moment. We don't have a mandatory, what's the word, self-contamination or I can't even think of the word. We are not being told that we have to stay inside at the moment, but we think that's coming. The schools are shutting apart from for key workers. And basically, for the next couple of months, we are going to be living in our homes and having to readjust and do things differently. Exciting. Now, it's really important how you hold this as an individual. If you hold this as a cataclysmic end, then that is what you will see. And remember, what you believe you create. So if you choose to hold this as a higher evolutionary for the planet, you will be tuned into things which mean that you see why this is happening. So my first wish for you is that really you hold a higher vision for the planet at this current time. Humanity will survive and it will be much, much stronger. Already you're seeing that people are changing their behaviors. So there's nobody flying. I think the beautiful thing I saw was that the skies are clear in China, which is amazing because obviously the factories have stopped churning out crap so people can see the skies for the first time. They are clear canals in Venice. Italy's coasts have dolphins coming nearer and nearer. Japan apparently has deer on the streets. Thailand, the monkeys on the streets. China has record-breaking pollution cuts. And Mother Earth essentially is cleaning herself up. So a greener, more environmentally friendly world is being born. Now, it's really important that you guys are doing this work on yourself. Like if you're part of my Dharma Life community, you will have gone through a period of transition, which means that you'll be coping with what is happening a lot better. The way I describe it is imagine a cup and human beings are filled up, that cup is usually brimming with stuff. So it's unprocessed emotions, it's trauma, it's negative energy, it's negative emotions, it's thoughts that they haven't looked at and they've just stuffed down, because we're taught as humans not to feel, not to be emotional. Now, what happens when you have external stress and pressure is that often the stuff can spill out, and you're seeing some people handling this quite badly and freaking out. And that is where they haven't necessarily done any work on themselves, and they haven't necessarily let go of the stuff that they have been carrying around. And of course, the external pressure is causing them to feel high levels of stress. So my recommendation, if a lot of you who listen to this, you have done work on yourself, you're on the path, you're seeing things differently, is if you come across somebody who is stressed and they don't know how to go forward and they're worried about everything, just listen. Like, that may sound obvious, but just hold space for them and let them empty out. So let them tell you all their fears and all their worries. Now, if you're an empath, make sure you energetically protect yourself so you don't take on their emotions, but just hold space for them and allow them to empty out their cup. And then recommend to them that they do the journaling. They can listen to one of my episodes, which is all about the power of journaling. And then they can journal out all their worries and all their concerns. So you've got different people at different stages in their evolution. And if you listen to this podcast, I would I'd imagine that you're on the path and you trust that there is a higher purpose for everything that is happening at the moment. Now, the symbol for transformation is the caterpillar turning into a butterfly. Now, we have, as a race, been eating ourselves, which is what the caterpillar does. If you imagine, what we've been doing is we've been burning and we've been eating all of our resources. This is what a caterpillar does when it goes into its chrysalis. It literally eats itself. But there is only so long it can do that for before it comes out the other side. And now my hope and wish is that we are coming out the side. We're going to come out stronger. We are going to come out more conscious. There is a great awakening happening. I've seen lots of stuff on the internet saying that many people are seeking answers of what is happening at the moment. And this great awakening is causing people to look beyond mainstream media, to look behind the mainstream media, to question what they are being told and to make their own decisions and make their own choices. Now, if you're listening to this podcast, again, please do not believe everything you are being told. Please go and do your own investigation. This is a time, the Leo Aquarius age, is all about us coming into our personal power, our personal sovereignty. Don't believe everything you're told. Go and do your own investigation and make up your mind about what is happening. My dear, dear friend, I'm hoping to get her on the podcast. She's an incredible human being. She's a 40-year-long astrologer. And I spent 2 hours on the phone with her, just as a friend, just talking to her the other day. And we were talking about everything that's happening. And there's a lot of schools of thought. There's a lot of negativity online about what might be happening. And there's also a lot of positivity online about what might be happening. And obviously, I was leaning towards the positivity, but what she told me gave me great hope. And I want to share it with you because I think it's important that you guys have the same perspective that I've got. She can see that we are being supported from an astrological planetary perspective. So this whole year is about change and about transformation. And in a nutshell, because I would butcher what she told me, obviously she knows a huge amount more than me, but in a nutshell, what she was saying was that the old paradigms, the old negative systems are being broken down and cleared out. So any corruption that's been happening is being flushed out, so to speak, and the new age is being dawned. Now, I'll let you go and do your own investigation about what is happening behind the scenes, but I am seeing some really, really good, positive things. So hang in there and trust that the coronavirus is a healing crisis, but it marks the beginning of a new chapter for human development. We're moving away from operating out of fear into operating as a community, as one. We can see through the coronavirus how interconnected we are. And obviously, for the next couple of weeks, months, we're going to be offline, we're going to be in our homes, and we're going to be forced to do things differently. So look at this as an opportunity to reinvent yourself. Look at this as an opportunity to focus on your health. I'm really, really doubling down on my self-care. I'm doing double the amount of meditation that I would normally do. I've added in extra practices. So my morning routine at the moment sounds a bit bonkers. I do a Reiki healing on myself. I then do a Kundalini yoga meditation. I then do 2 lots of tapping, and I do some yoga. And then that's all before I take the dogs for a walk and before I do my group tapping session with the community. And then in the afternoon, I make sure I do some more meditation and some more tapping. So it's brilliant being at home. Like, I have to be honest, my life hasn't changed very much because my husband and I both work from home, and we've kind of set ourselves up like this. But yes, make sure that you're using this as an opportunity to double down on your self-care. If you're working from home and that is not normal for you, then look at it as a blessing. Now's the time to empty out all the stuff that you've got that you don't need anymore. Use this as a way of cleaning up your existing environment and getting clear. So, how are you feeling about everything? It's a real transition that we are going through, but one that I think is going to bring us out stronger in body and mind, the other way, the other side. So, as well as focusing on your self care, I suggest that you also look at how you can redesign your businesses, do things differently. I know a lot of people are being called to change how they run things. And my belief is that actually, personally, I don't think much will change in my life, but I've been on this path for quite a long time. I think what it's doing is it's a wake up call for people who are maybe off the path, who have maybe not been listening, and this will force them to change and force them to do things differently. So more and more people will be doing their Dharma, which is great because we need everybody in line or lined up with who they are authentically so they can contribute and make a difference on the planet. Planet Earth is showing us that she needs us. She will survive. She has done for eons and eons and eons, and she will do so again. So it's our choice whether we listen. We are going through what I would call an evolutionary leap as well. So it'll be interesting to see what happens with the internet, because the number of people using the internet will obviously go up. So it may crash, it may not. I don't know if it can withstand the number of people that we are having on it. If it does, don't panic. It will go back up again. But just look at it as an opportunity for you to redesign how you are doing things. So some of the good news that's happening is that Venice canals have become a lot clearer. There's been beautiful pictures of how you can actually see the water because there's not so many tourists using them. They've become crystal clear. The coasts off the edge of Italy have dolphins coming nearer and nearer. Japan has deer roaming the streets. Thailand has monkeys. And obviously there's been huge amounts of record-breaking pollution cuts in China. So the earth has done something here to get everybody to hear her. And what if we use this as a way of restarting and resetting our society on a more conscious foot? It's up to us. It really is up to us to view this and to see this as an evolution. So I'd love to hear your thoughts. Come over to my Instagram page, come over to my Facebook page. As I said, in our Facebook group, we are doing daily group tapping. You can come and join us. We've had some incredible results. As I said, this lady won £11,000. Now is the time to become more conscious. Go and do your own investigation. Go and have a look about what you think is happening. Peace is such a priority for us now. It's really important that we have a peaceful coexistence within the collective. It's a really, really amazing, incredible time if you choose to see it like that. There are people out there doing amazing things. I'd like to give a shout out to the key workers who really are struggling and under stress because of the amount of general public who are turning up with cold symptoms. If you've got a cold, do not go to A&E. But really keen to talk to you today and to essentially give you a different perspective around on what's happening and explain to you why it's so important for all of us to keep our vibrations high and to focus on health, actually, rather than anything to do with the virus itself. So if you know me, you know I love to talk about energy. You know I love to talk about frequency. You know I've changed my name because I'm shifting my vibration. So again, let's take you back. I really want you to grasp this. Everything's energy. We are made of energy. Quantum physics has proven this. And realistically, the reason I want people to do their Dharma is because when you do what you love, when you're in an energetic alignment with who you are, you vibrate higher. And guess what? When you vibrate higher, you have a really strong immune system because you're being the person that you're supposed to be. You're in energetic alignment and your frequency is higher. Now, this coronavirus stuff, it's really important that we don't go into scarcity and into fear, because fear is a low-level emotional vibration. And actually, it lowers your immune system. So if you're a hypochondriac or a worrier and you're somebody that's kind of really worried about this, you really need to listen to this episode because you need to shift and change your focus. What we focus on expands, and what we focus on most comes into our existence. So it's really important that we keep our vibrations high and focused on really our missions. Because if you're a mission-led entrepreneur, like a lot of you that listen to this podcast, this isn't even going to be bothering you. And that's really, really important. So the first step is, it's really important that we are doing our Dharma because, as I said, you're in energetic alignment. You are vibrating higher naturally. But if you're listening to this and you're in a job and you're not quite doing, what you really would love to do, then don't worry too. There are definitely things that you can do. That's not a problem. So essentially how the coronavirus works is, it's how it's affecting people is it's affecting weaker people. So it's affecting the elderly predominantly. And if you imagine with the elderly, they are in a weaker emotional vibrational state. They're coming to the end of their lives. Their bodies are kind of breaking down a little bit. So with regards to what's happening out in the planet, this virus is affecting people who are maybe the kind of more vulnerable of our society. But what's really important for us to remember is we must not buy into the media hype. We must not buy into the news, the TV, the radio. All of those things lower our vibration. When we watch television, when we listen to the radio, all those things are almost like hypnotizing. It's a very way of sort of unconscious programming. So my first tip would be around this situation is listen to things that are educating you, like things like this podcast. Do your own research. Don't get pulled into the media hype. Turn off the radio, turn off the TV. Now, in ancient Roman times, essentially the gladiators were used to distract the population from actually what was happening in governments. Give them bread and wine and they will, be completely distracted from what's happening. So in some way, shape or form, our media is also used in this way. It's used to distract us. It's used for mass mind control. And it's a way of feeding us what they want us to believe. So step one, if you followed me for a while, I will always say, don't even watch it. Don't even listen to it. Step out of that circus. And that in itself will help you feel so much better about your life. That digital detox or the news detox will really, really influence you and help you. And if you're somebody that's worried about coronavirus, please don't listen to it on the radio and TV all day, every day. Just turn it off. You don't need it. You don't need it in your space. You don't need it, especially at the moment. So let's talk about vibration and let's talk about how it's really important to focus on where we want to go. Mother Teresa famously said that she would not back an anti-war rally. Now, why did she say that? Because what you focus on, you expands. So she's saying she wouldn't back an anti-war rally because of the word war in the title. It makes you think of it unconsciously. If you're focusing your attention on it, that's what will happen. So she is very much pro-peace. So she would attend a pro-peace rally. It was the same thing that we talked about when Australia was at the peak of its bushfires. It's really important that we don't focus on fire, that we focused on the rain, and there were huge amounts of group meditations that happened. I joined a few, which were focusing on bringing rain into Australia, because what you focus on expands and comes into existence. So what does this mean for you guys? Well, it's really important that you focus on what it is that you want to happen in life. Focus on your vision. Focus on your mission. Don't focus on ill health. If you want to focus on anything, focus on health. So don't focus on the coronavirus itself. Don't focus on all the negatives. Focus on health, your mission. And if you are impacted by what is happening with the coronavirus, then my suggestion is that you really look at how this is supporting you and how it's giving you what you need at the moment. So say, for example, an event is cancelled and you can't go, then what's the blessing in the situation? When we ask high vibe questions, we get high vibe answers. If we go into fear, if we go into panic, we're activating the lower aspects of our brain. We're going back into reptilian brain, and we're into that fight or flight mode, which is what we don't want, because that will lower our immune system. So really important that you focus on where you want to go and that you educate yourself. And don't believe everything that you are being told by the media. We are in the Leo Aquarius age. It's very much about us taking back our power. And if your plans change, really important that you ask why this is for your highest good. Now, if you ask the question, why is this happening for my highest good? Guess what? That's the answer that you will get. If you ask the question, oh my God, why does everything bad happen to me? That's the answer to the question that you will get. So a very powerful question that you can ask is, why is this situation happening for my highest good? And then in the meantime, go about your business, do what you need to do, focus on your dreams, focus on the things that you want to call into your life. And if there are people around you that are struggling, get them to really educate themselves, because people die of flu all the time, but there hasn't been the media hype and the media sensation. And pandemics, epidemics, what this situation is, that will die down. It won't last forever. So it's really important that we are keeping our heads, that we are positive, that we focus on where we want to go. And a really, really good way to keep your vibration high is to focus on your gratitude. Gratitude is a very high level emotional state, and it will keep you in a beautiful place. Now, one thing you can also do, which will support your immune system, is look at natural remedies that also can help your vibration stay high. So I want to talk a little bit about frequency. And frequency is defined as a measurable rate of electrical energy flow that is constant between any 2 points. Everything has an electrical frequency, and a gentleman called Raymond Rife, MD, developed a frequency generator. Now, he developed this frequency generator in the early 20s, and he found that certain frequencies could prevent development of disease, and others would destroy disease. There's also a gentleman called Björn Nordström, who is a radiologist in Stockholm in Sweden. And he wrote about biological closed circuits, and he discovered in the early 1980s that by putting an electrode inside a tumor and running a current through it, he could dissolve cancers in tumors and stop its growth. He found that the human body had electronegative energy fields. Now, why is this relevant to us and our conversation? Because if you are looking to support yourself, one of the things I would really, really suggest is looking at essential oils. So essential oils are very much nature's way It's almost like nature's pharmacy, I suppose. Essential oils have the highest frequency of any natural substance known to man. So you can use natural essential oils as a way of raising your frequency and raising your immune system. So just to give you an idea, peppermint has peppermint essential oil. 2 drops of it is the frequency of 78 megahertz. Lemon's about 76 megahertz, and tap water is about 32 megahertz. For any of you out there, please don't drink tap water. Please only drink distilled water, or get yourself a water filter. It's all sorts of weird and wonderful stuff, including fluoride in tap water. So please don't drink it. Fluoride calcifies your pineal gland. But everything can be measured in megahertz. And essential oils kind of start at the base level of 47 megahertz. And they go as high, actually, as 320 megahertz. And rose oil is the highest oil that you can get. And our brains operate around 72, 78 megahertz. So by using essential oils, they can keep you in a really nice, high vibrational state. And the type of oils that I would use, there's one that doTERRA have, which is called On Guard, which is all about almost protecting you from any kind of germs. So think about things that you can do just to make yourself feel even healthier, basically. When we focus on health, when we focus on positivity, when we focus on gratitude, all of those things will keep us in a high vibrational state. So really, really important that you don't let all of this coronavirus stuff get to you. So I'd love to hear from you guys how you're feeling around all of this. You know, I think there's some simple tips that I've just given you in this podcast, which is, you know, everything happens for a reason. What is it that the human race is learning from this coronavirus? I personally think it's man-made and it's a way of population control. But what is it you're learning from this situation? When you get the learning, you will move through the situation much, much quicker. So really, really important. Focus on where you want to go. Focus on health. Don't focus on the news. Don't focus on the media. Don't focus on negative things that will bring your emotional vibrational state down. Focus on ways you can support your immune system naturally and healthily. As I said, essential oils is a really, really lovely way to boost your frequency. And, you know, from there, I would just really advise you to educate yourself and start going out and learning more about the world. You know, learning what's happening out in the world and not just taking the media's news or the media's opinion on it. Switch off that TV, switch off that radio. So yeah, just a quick one from me. I just wanted to jump into your inbox and basically share this with you because I think it's really important that everybody knows this information. And energy is everything. So, you know, the moral of the story also in this podcast is to really make sure that you are being true to yourself. You know, it's really make sure that you're on the correct path and essentially shifting your vibration and shifting your consciousness level. Now, when we do our Dharma, when we do what we love, we get into energetic alignment and we naturally essentially wake up spiritually and we get on the spiritual path. And, you know, as we know, for us to solve the problems that we've got on the planet at the moment, you know, the reason I do this work is because when we have a critical mass of people who are all doing their Dharma, making the world a better place, we will come up with the solutions to the problems that we have. So there's a lot of work to be done, So just a reminder, I'm going to be starting my Follow Your Highest Excitement Challenge 2 soon. So this starts the 13th of April in my Facebook group. I update it every year. Every 6 months I update it. So yeah, please come and check us out. We've got some powerful tools that we're going to be using in the group. One of the tools we're going to be using, I'm using with my community at the moment. And after 3 days of doing the tool, one of the girls was working on abundance and she basically won £11,000, we couldn't believe it. Like, we were just falling around laughing. It was absolutely amazing. And obviously everybody was so happy for her. But yeah, so it's going to be a powerful challenge this time round. Got really powerful new tools that I'm trying out and that I'm testing and that are working. You know, she is testament to that. So come along and join us. That is in my Facebook group, and that is now called the Dharma Life Academy Facebook group. So you beautiful people, I'm going to go and pack and cook my husband some lunch. Thank you so much for listening to this episode. I really appreciate you taking the time out. It's a short one today. But yeah, thank you for sharing this, listening to this episode. Share it with anybody that you think needs to hear it. Focus on where you want to go. Don't get pulled down into the fear. Fear is just false evidence appearing real. So make sure you're focusing on all your energy, on your dreams, and doing your Dharma and helping the planet. And I'll see you next week on another episode. Thank you so much for listening to the Dharma Life podcast. I do hope you enjoyed this episode. Please come over and say hello on my Instagram, our Facebook group, and also please let me know what you thought. So if you are listening, please take a screenshot of the podcast that you are listening to. Tag me on Instagram and I will reshare your post, and please let me know what it is that you got out of today's episode. Remember, when we do our Dharma, we are happier, healthier, we live longer, and we have a deep sense of unshakable inner peace.